Welcome back to Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Tuesday, February 4th, 2020. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. To quote the great late Kobe Bryant, "It's a long journey, but if you focus on the many milestones along the way, you will find beauty in the struggle of doing simple things." That statement encapsulates what Kobe was all about: Mamba mentality. Day in and day out, just show up and do the work. That's the Terrence Ruffin approach. And right now, Terrence looks amazing, and he's on pace to be his all-time best and potentially looking at putting something on his resume that very few athletes in history have ever had the privilege to do. He's embracing the beauty in the struggle, and I'm sure that Kobe's probably looking down on him right now and giving him a slow head nod of approval. In case you haven't heard, one of the bigger news items that broke recently came from George Peterson's camp, who announced that he'd be making his 212 debut at the New York Pro this spring. Despite back-to-back top 3 finishes at the Classic Physique Olympia, this will be the first time we've seen George match up with some of the 212's best. Outside of Flex Lewis and maybe David Henry back in the day, George is the first top 3 Olympian that we've seen bump up a class in recent memory, which makes this whole saga even more fascinating. Personally, I think he'll be fine, and this show is a natural fit for him to make the jump given that he's a New York guy. And when it's all said and done, I can certainly see him walking away with a top 3 or better finish. If Lionel brings the 2014 conditioning he had at the Arnold Brazil, he can win the Arnold Classic in 2020. I paraphrase that for simplicity's sake, but those are the general sentiments from a recent statement made by Dennis James on his social media. You know, with all the build-up to next month's show, we actually haven't heard too much talk about Lionel Beyeke as a potential contender, which may or may not be a good thing. It gives him the benefit of coming in below the radar, and sometimes there's a certain value in being overlooked. Lionel clearly has the ability, as he always has, and I think a lot of fans, myself included, would love to see him stack up against some of the best and see him at his all-time best on that stage, because you never know what can happen. If you want to see massive change in your life, then you have to take massive action. That's what Tony Robbins says, and I'm starting to think that maybe Derek Lunsford might have taken that one to heart. The 2-time Olympian has been training like a man possessed since he wrapped up his season late last year, and I'm sure the sting from how he feels about his placing at the Olympia last year has a lot to do with that. Pound for pound, Derek might be the most genetically gifted athlete in the division, but you need to be more than an impressive 23andMe readout to win championships. So the fact that he's not resting on his laurels and that he's doing everything he can to improve lets me know that he's all in on the Tony Robbins approach. The time to take massive action is now. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.